Hello, this is Lasan from Midgardsmore, and with this new deck, I got interested in it after seeing people's posts on Reddit about floating it both as a balcony but also as an over deck overhanging the edge of the plot. So I started playing around with how to float it, and looking at some of what other people have done. I've been sort of able to get it. This is going to just be the quick and dirty tutorial. I am not going to. I keep trying to make more complex videos explaining it, but I'm not going to go into anything more except to say that one, it's very temperamental, both placement and fence and everything else. So I'm going to show exactly what I did to get this working. You can use the same thing with other fences and other layouts, but you're going to have to work with it, finagle it, and try and figure out what to do about it. Um, it's possible to do some really cool things. I've gotten it like to sit really high on the top of a glade fence, but I've not been able to consistently replicate that. So let's start from the beginning. I'm going to go put this in storage because I'm going to be placing it outside the plot area, and generally doing that from storage seems to work better. I don't have any proof that it is required in this case, but I'm going to use it anyway. Next thing is I'm going to go ahead and remove my fence. Um, this fence, at least in lavender beds, gives you a lot more room, I found, especially after reading some other posts. Just provides a bit more room where to lay things out, and allows you to get the edge of your deck closer to the edge of the plot. So the first thing to do is actually place your deck. I'm going to place it from storage. So let's find that. There you go. If you get this where it's floating already, it's not going to work. You need to actually reposition it off to preferably more towards inside the plot. So for me, that's to my right. So I'm going to turn my character a bit more to the right to have it place. I've had a lot of trouble actually adjusting the placement and then using place. Like if I try and do this, you'll notice I just can't get it to sit right. I can get a lot closer um, by just doing this. There's probably a better way, and I may not be as good about it. So again, I want it to just be barely inside the plot like that. And I'm just go ahead and place it from here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on my own because I want it like that. I believe turning it also does help prevent it from getting reset once you leave the area. Once you have it set there, all you really have to do then is add your fence back in. So in that case, I'm going to enable the cobblestone wall, and then simply start the move process. Don't do anything except click on it so it starts its move and it comes like this, and then just hit escape, and then escape out of the move. And now you can see it's floating. So in this case, I can see that these things are poking through. That's an indication that I probably could have gotten it closer to the edge. It seems to be really picky about that part of it. So like if I wanted to do this a little bit better, even though I said I wouldn't do, is I'm going to go ahead and put that back in storage, remove my fence, and confirm that. Get right on the edge, because this is where I've been doing that. Pull out the deck again. I don't want it there. I want it a little bit back. Because I'm trying the center point, I want to make sure sort of stays in the plot. There is an invisible wall that I'll run into if I try and get too fancy, because that's where the edge of the swimming area is, right on the edge of this area. So as you saw, I just repositioned it. So I have that set. I'm just going to hit remodel exterior, put my fence back on, confirm that, outdoor furnishings, and there we go. We got it floating again, and nothing's poking through, and I can just make use of this like normal. Since I have it working, I'm going to go ahead and do what I said I was going to do and try and do the fancier thing. Let's go ahead and see. This may or may not work, because again, this is where it gets temperamental. I'm going to switch the fence out for the hedge well. Now this may go flat, it may go up, it may not do anything. This is where I have not had the ability to come up with anything consistent, and you can see in this case it didn't go all the way up, and I've had it actually go up to the tips of this, but it didn't go all the way, but it did get higher. I had it to the point where I actually had to use a treehouse to get into it. you can keep adjusting it. It seems to be about where center lines are that makes a difference between these two things, but I don't know that for sure. And so that's about it. That's the quick and dirty tutorial I have so far. I have only tested this on my own plot here in the lavender beds, and with a couple fences that I have already or could build quickly. So let me know if it works for you or what else you had to work to get around it. I'm curious to see what other people do with this. I would actually probably want to add more of them. Oh yeah, and the last thing I'll add, let me switch back the fence real quick. It's easier to show on this one. And the second, two things actually, now that I think about it. Once I switch this fence back, you'll notice it's still floating high. If you don't interact with it, and I'm not 100% sure on this, because it may happen on its own anyway, but if I interact with it, you'll notice it just dropped. It goes back to wherever the fence is. So I have never been able to get it to stick in any specific location, so you can't just remove the fence. The other reason I brought this fence back is I have not been able to get it to float when it's like set anywhere from between here and here. So this area just will not float. It will stay on the ground with this fence. Some other fences it can work. I'm not 100% sure which. I have been able to get it to sort of work here, but the height of it was unusual. And I've not tried in this corner or anywhere back here because that's not what I've been looking for. Okay, that wraps up this the quick tutorial. This is how I got it to work. Let me know if it works for you or anything else. I'm curious to see. And maybe someday I'll get the diving board I want. Thank you.